Hi everyone. So I've got a really quirky thing that we're doing today, and Hannah has so brilliantly agreed to my quirky idea. But I thought, as well as sharing Hannah's words, we would share a little bit of an interaction where I show Hannah around our studio. So it's part yoga studio, part office, part where the kids come and hang out, and it has been like a spare room in the past as well. So I thought I'd show Hannah around and let that land with her, and then maybe ask some questions about what might happen next if I was a client and how that would all work. Yeah, Hannah, would you like to tell us a little bit about who you are? Obviously, so people understand the full context if they're watching the video first.
Absolutely. So I'm Hannah Ashe, and I am an interior designer based in London, and recently had a big career pivot, which is kind of where I've arrived, or how I've arrived on Substack. I used to be a music teacher in a school, had a really busy job, and then sort of had a big change, and in the last year have retrained as an interior designer. And yeah, here I am. So yeah, I'm really excited to
I
have a look
love
around.
it. And it's always such a surprise for me. So I had the Google form out for the guest blogs on Creatively Conscious. So this is our big dreams and quiet ambitions section. And the idea is it's like about dreaming big, but then also about that kind of quiet ambition about what it could be. And I loved your blog for all of that stuff. It was beautiful. So that'll go out. And then this is the more practical side of like, okay, like what is my dream for the space? Because we've just made it work, you know? So
Yeah.
let me show you around
Yeah,
anyway.
please
So
do.
I am sat on the floor at the moment. So when I lift you up, the first thing I'm going to do is spin you around so you can see the windows.
Wow.
So those are the windows. And then if I go more over here, you might be able to see some of the sea view, but it's in that general direction anyway, the
Yeah.
sea.
Yes, I can see it. Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
I can put a photo on the blog as well.
Yeah, that'd be
And then we've
great.
got this other window, which is just like a Velux window.
Yeah.
And then behind me here is basically the full length of the wall is a storage cupboard, and
Yeah.
it's huge. So it's really sizable, and it goes all the way back
Yeah.
behind the wall bars here.
Yeah.
Gym wall bars. This is my husband's therapy couch, which he will use for like adjustments and cupping treatments and things like that. But it's not always out. Sometimes it's in the cupboard.
Yeah.
We've got an array of floor cushions,
Yeah.
not in any particular order at the minute. They're all just there. We kept the external wall of the cottage as a feature.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, and then put in some reclaimed wooden door, so you can see a little bit of that
Yeah.
there. And then we've very recently, and people will find this interesting because I wrote about not having a desk. We very recently made this little sort of area where I could podcast and Zoom,
Yeah.
and have a little desk space, a little nook and cranny to like pull things out of and plan. I've got some lights there that I can switch on if I'm podcasting and it's
Yeah.
dark. I tend to like to do video podcasts as well. And then my husband's got this old gym equipment, which is really big, but he does use it. So it's
Yeah.
like a horse box, top and bottom. And then he's got some bits and bobs there, which I just haven't had a chance to put away. And then that that corner, I think you can see some leftover toys from half term when we let the kids play in here.
Yeah.
And then there's another kind of storage device and radiator under those shelves
Yeah.
to get you the best angle, really.
Yeah. That view is amazing, isn't it? So that's the real kind of, that's
Yeah,
what you want to see as much as possible, I
yeah.
guess. I would say.
And then we've got spotlights in the ceiling. We
Yeah.
literally just ran out of decision-making power with the extension. And we were
Yeah.
like, stick spotlights in.
Yeah.
It was just one of those real practical decisions of going, that'll probably be fine. And
Yeah.
it is, but we haven't really bothered with any kind of other types of light. Like I'll put them on. And there is the studio lights for filming, but we haven't bothered with any sort of ambient lights.
Yeah.
We did have some fairy lights plugged in, but maybe they got moved. It feels like it's ended up a little bit chaotic, but I think that's probably quite good for the call, because one of the things I was saying to you was that because it's this multifunctional room, I want to just be able to come in, sit down, pull out a drawer, get my headphones, get my notebook and crack on. And then Dave wants to meet a client here or go online on a Zoom to meet a client, and he'll need different bits and bobs for that. Sometimes someone comes and needs to be on the therapy couch or whatever. So it's got these multiple uses, but I do feel for a lot of the week it sits empty. So we do our work in it, but I also like to work downstairs. I'm really bad at just sitting on the sofa and do my work on the sofa. The idea with the desk was that I would sit there more, but we've got a stool instead of a comfy office chair, and I've said it just really hurts my coccyx, so we are actually going to have to get a proper office chair, not just the stool. I think the idea is excuse me, it's an adjustable desk so you can stand, but actually I'm tired. I'll just get my cup of tea.
Yeah, of course. So do you think that what would you say is the kind of the biggest, I use the word issue, but I don't think issue is necessarily it for you. But what would you say is the biggest challenge of this space that doesn't quite work for you at the moment?
I think I just want to use it more, Hannah. So I feel like, downstairs it's open plan. So we've got a lovely open plan living room and kitchen, and it's always a really busy space and we're always in it. And then when I come up here, it's like a retreat. It's beautiful. So it can be like calm and serene and away from the kids' stuff and away from requests for snacks and dinner time smells and all that sort of thing. And sometimes I've reminded myself, because we get the sunrise here as well, that just to sit with a coffee and watch the sunrise is a really beautiful thing. And I don't do it as much as I would like. And I don't know why that is. I think partially it's because I might come in and I might need to like move a few things, or, we're not using the space as efficiently as we could. And so I'll go straight into kind of doing my jobs downstairs. Whereas actually, I think if I had more organized storage here, or more ways to use the space where I could put things away when Dave was finished his work and I was finished mine, we've just kind of been making it work. But then I think we're missing the magic of it.
So you're sitting on the floor at the moment on the cushions facing out to the window, and is that a space that would you find yourself sitting there quite regularly?
Yeah, this is where I love to sit. So it's not as practical in summer because of the way the sun comes in. But definitely this time of year, like I've had a good 3 years of sitting on this space, like stretching out on the floor. I just find myself really comfortable. And like I said, we do want to buy a proper office chair to try and see if that desk setup is a bit more comfortable for me. But usually after an hour on the stool, I'm like, I'm done. So
because I wonder if also with the office space, it makes sense that you've set it up as you have so that you can do your podcasting and you've got that kind of little cocooned area. But equally, I wonder if one of the reasons why you maybe also don't like to sit and work there for too long is because you're kind of hidden from the view, aren't you? You haven't got the expansiveness of the window from that area. But equally, it's difficult to have both of those things because you want that cocoon space for podcasting. But
like it's practical for podcasting, but I think if I'm just writing, like I would always opt to be here. And sometimes it's like if the next door neighbor has a dog that barks quite a lot, so sometimes it's like, right, I really just need the soundproof boards and my headphones in and I need to focus. And then other times, like if the kids are downstairs and I'm trying to finish off, so sometimes I'm trying to wrap up and they're downstairs, and that's like equally distracting, and that really helps being in that little cocoon.
So you need that.
We do need it, but I mean, we've made it work there because that's where the plugs are, and then obviously there's a skylight here. There's a radiator underneath the shelves, so there was really nowhere else to put it. It was like that's the place for it. I had thought about making it inside the cupboard, but I thought, that'll feel even more oppressive. But such a big cupboard, I could have had like a podcasting studio, I feel like, in the cupboard.
Well, maybe that isn't the worst idea, because if you're only really using or sitting down at that space to do podcasting, in many respects, it doesn't matter that it's dark and it's a cupboard, because
it's just for an hour.
If that's what you're using it for. And I mean, I read so many things of people who do record podcasts in cupboards or wardrobes.
I know,
it acoustically works, doesn't it? So that could be something to consider, as long as it's, I guess, not too much hassle to kind of have to move everything over there.
No, I think it definitely could work. It's more so than Dave being able to access what he needs to access. So this
Yes.
window seat that the laptop's on, it has got a flip top lid, and it's got it's storage as well.
Right. Okay.
So I've often said to him, maybe, that everything you need is just in here and you don't have to go in the cupboard at all.
Yeah.
So I've had those conversations, like, so it'll be things like towels, and then like stretch bands, and then
Yeah.
there's just all sorts, really, like the fitness ball he's been using
Yeah.
recently. Like, there's just quite a lot of bits and bobs.
One of the other things that just springs to mind looking behind you is that wall, and whether you could utilize that with a mixture maybe of shelves with good storage boxes or baskets, and then maybe like hooks and things. I don't know if there's some stuff that could be hung up.
Yeah, but there's like, where that basket is on the door, there's like a tiny little bit of wall. Can you see between
Yeah.
the door and the
Yeah.
window? So there's a wall there. The reason we haven't put anything against this brick wall is because if anyone's doing any inversions, so say if you were doing down dog against the wall, that's the only spare
I
wall.
see, that's the
space for
only wall
that.
you can use.
The yoga wall, yeah. So it's kind of like the yoga wall. It works. That's the only bit of wall space. But above the window, the
That's
old
what
window,
I'm thinking that you could put, even if it was just one shelf
yeah,
above, one long shelf above that window.
yeah,
And you might not get everything on there, but if I suppose it's thinking about, if it's slightly difficult to reach, you wouldn't want to put things on there that you were going to need to be putting back and getting off there regularly. But if there's stuff that's stored that isn't used so often, that could potentially go up there. I mean, I don't know about the yoga, the ball. I mean, that's
there
probably too big
is
to go up there, isn't
like,
it?
there will be something that gyms have where it's like probably like almost like a crate or a claw or something that people could have. And like aesthetically, it's fine. It's nice. It's a sort of baby pink color. It doesn't not go with the room, but it's like everything else, like having a system to put things away so that it can just feel like that lovely place to sit and have coffee and like write in my journal, or a place to come and sit and write that isn't like, well, the untidiness obviously is just something that you've got to kind of sort and do. But I think sometimes we just systemize it and then everything gets pulled out again. And I mean, I am still curious about whether it could have a function as a spare room, what that would be like, for people to come and stay, or, mini retreats almost. But we kind of went off the idea because it felt just so epic to try and have it do the two things.
It strikes me that you've probably already got quite a lot of uses for the space, and that's probably one of the reasons why you find it difficult to keep it. I mean, you say keep it tidy, but actually you're just using it, and I don't think I think we become a bit worried, don't we, about things being messy, but actually, I mean, life is messy and needs stuff, and I think it's all fine to have all of that stuff. That's not something that we should feel that is really problematic. But I suppose what you maybe should think about is whether you actually want to add another thing into the mix that makes it even more of a complex space. Because it seems to me like it's already got quite a lot of different functions.
It does.
And adding another into the mix might make it even slightly more challenging.
I
don't know. But
if it's sometimes, when you're having a wander around IKEA and you see, oh, look, that's like a half sofa that's also a bed, like that feels fun, and with the kids currently share a room, so it is quite a small terrace cottage, like it's so beautiful and so picturesque, but them sharing a room is like, okay, that's what we do. And then I sometimes think, well, if my son wanted a sleepover, could it happen in here? How would we like get a blow up mattress and have it on the floor and everything's put away and it can be their room as well? That the bit that bothers me is that it's such a beautiful room and we're not using it, and it's hard to know why we're not. Like, maybe it's because it's a workspace for both of us, so we close the door and that bit of it's done. But I would love to make more of it, because like I said, the view is so stunning, and you can see the stars and the moon out of this skylight as well, because we've got dark skies here, and it just feels like such a gift, like have it. And then this kind of rub of like, oh, but it's empty most of the time.
I mean, there isn't any way, is there, that you could put a small desk in front of the window, because I think if that was my space, the thing that I'd be drawn to would be wanting to sit and work in there and literally looking out onto that sea view. That would be my kind of writing space, imagine.
Well, I think because that desk is movable, right? So it's pretty lightweight. So if I hadn't boxed myself in the way that I have, I could literally just move the desk,
a
few hours, probably in that corner underneath, in front of the cupboard, and look out at the sea view at the same time. I could definitely do that, and I've never thought about doing it. So there's plenty of plug sockets in this room. We like built extra into
that's good
one. Not like the other rooms in the cottage where it's like one plug socket. So that would be fine, to kind of move the desk and have that set up. And actually, with your original idea of podcasting in the cupboard, it would mean that maybe the desk comes out of the cupboard to do that. So it's in for podcasting, and then we just move it out. And then we reclaim more of the space, because we've just got so many bits of furniture in here now. I've said to Dave a few times, are you sure you need the horse? And he's like, I just use it. It's beautiful as well, but we've tried it, and we've tried the red piece of it in the kids' room, but it's too big for the room, and we've tried the beige one downstairs like as a bit of a feature, but it doesn't quite work, like it needs to be in here. I did use that as a desk for a little while, but you have to sit with your knees to the side, so we just recently got the other desk. But maybe I could try, and I can share some photos of this setup as well, having the desk either at standing height, or when we get a chair that works, having it in that corner, looking out to sea that way.
And would you be thinking of like a chair that got some wheels on it so that it could be easily moved around?
The only thing that puts me off is we invested in bamboo flooring.
Right.
So that's what, we do let the kids play in here, but we wouldn't let them have like scratchy toys like cars and stuff in here, because the floor is so lovely. And downstairs we've got wooden floors, and we very much accept that they're like chipped and scratched, and my daughter's drawn on a bit of it, that's all good. But in here it's more like a sort of meditation space and a serene space. So with the wheels, I just worry about that.
Yes, true.
Check them out again and see. But there was one I was looking at that was in IKEA again. It was like a couple £100. It was maybe like 250 or something, and it was beige, and I sat on it and I was like, oh, this is nice. Like for years being self-employed now, like I've just made it work in coffee shops, like at clients' places, here at the house, at the kitchen table, on the sofa. I've never really set myself up with a desk, and I think would really like that now, to like settle a bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think you should, if you can make the most of that amazing view, I just think that would be the most wonderful place to, you might feel that you're more drawn to using this, going into that room and using that room for working, if you know that you get to sit and have that kind of amazing view. And that's, I guess,
such a beautiful idea. Thank you.
That's all right. And I think also, because you've got lots of cushions that you're sitting on at the moment, so maybe it's trying to find a way that those cushions can be easily stored in the space as well, so that if you do want to clear the floor, like you say, if you wanted to use it for a sleepover for the kids or something, that you've kind of got that clear floor space. So how big are those cushions?
They're huge. So that they're those like big floor cushions. And there's a history, because we had a 10-person teepee in the garden for a season, and they're from that, and they are amazing, but we've got too many of them. Like if I'm really honest, they were for the teepee, and then they're now in the house, and we've got like rugs and other sort of smaller meditation cushions that go with them, but we probably don't need them. So it's one of those, isn't it, where you like, maybe we keep 2 of them, but then one of them we could just gift on or sell or something.
That's what I was going to suggest. And I think sometimes you do have to be a little bit ruthless with what you've got and what you need, and really kind of carefully assess, okay, what do we absolutely use in this space, and what is just extra and actually a hindrance because it takes up space that you want to use for other things.
Feel, when you end up with these things, and it's like, did I choose this? Where's this come from? I feel like this was like a TK Maxx trip, when I used to go to TK Maxx, and like £100 later, I think it was like one of those. But actually, we've spoken before about, do we get a bespoke piece of like cushioning for the window seat, because it's just painted wood, and I've just left it a cream colour. I've repainted it a couple of times. but these end up just here, and then sometimes they're on the window, sometimes on the floor. It's just, you know, sometimes one's ended up in the bedroom or the kids' room, or one's back on the sofa. It just seems to be that way. It's like it doesn't have its own kit, if you like.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing you could do is, if you felt like you wanted to get some more bespoke stuff to go in that space, you could look at selling the stuff that you think you're not going to use. I mean, actually, I've realized that Vinted, I reckon, are quite good for actually selling homeware on. I've only sold clothes on there myself, but someone was telling me the other day that you can get all sorts of things. So I reckon, you know, you might be able to kind of, if you do find yourself being ruthless with going through stuff and going,
I'm up for it. Yeah.
I suppose it feels quite good as well to do that. And obviously it needs to be done strategically, because you don't want to just keep sort of spending more and more money on things and collecting more stuff. But I think if you've really worked out that there's a need for a specific thing, like if a window seat or a window pad on a seat pad, sorry, on the window works, then that sounds great, but you probably then don't need all those other ones as well. So it's just being really strategic about what you would actually use, and then maybe trying to sort of have a clear out of the other stuff, because there's no point trying to work out or trying to store things that actually you don't really need or use. The other thing that's just crept into my mind, what's the ceiling like? I know you showed me the spotlight.
So it's all white, like it's a white box room.
Because I wonder whether
wall bars hit the top over there. There could be a little bit of space. Oh, there's a cobweb. There could be a little bit of space above the door there to like do that wall bar line, to have like a shelf above the door. Maybe if I look, there will be equipment stuff, you know, for storing yoga mats. Dave knows the mat that he likes and that his regular client likes. They could almost like live up there, and then he can just grab them down, because I end up rolling them up and putting them away and stuff, just because otherwise he's got to like hoover the whole room and hoover each of the yoga mats every week. Whereas if they're away, it's only the floor to do. So
yes, exactly,
it's a bit quicker.
But I also wonder if there's any way of some things that could hang from the ceiling, like on hooks. Like, I don't know whether the ball could. You can get like those nets, can't you, that they go in? I think I've seen those in gyms.
I've got one for the kids' soft toys, actually, a little hammock.
Something like that could even hang from the ceiling, in the corner where it's out of the way and wouldn't affect the wall. That could be quite. It could be something to explore. I don't know.
Yeah, we could maybe attach it to the top wall bar, you know, because Dave does use the wall bars with like stretch bands and things like that, but I don't think it would be in the way if we hung the ball from that top one, so it wasn't kind of a roundabout. My daughter likes to play on it and stuff like that, but they go through phases, the kids. Like I don't think she touched it for weeks, to be honest. So that could work as well, having a look to see what there is with that. I mean, the other thing that I always wonder is, when we do clear, you know, the stuff, if there is a way of like having maybe an accent color on this like window seat, or the ceiling painted a different color, you know, maybe to match the door. It's again, you know, the doors came like that color, and I just patched them up where they'd gotten a little bit scruffy. But yeah, I do wonder if it needs that, because it's got the brick wall, and obviously the view is like a pink, and it's gorgeous, whether it needs anything else, and whether the white and the cream just is fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you say that, because that's kind of what I largely feel. Obviously, I'm not in the space, and it's harder to kind of envisage
it's harder,
it. But from what I've seen, it strikes me that you've got some lovely texture on that wall, and that gives nice colour and texture and warmth and depth to the room. You've got your nice wood floor, your bamboo floor, and then you've obviously got that amazing view, which has got, like you say, it's like a picture in itself. And I would be slightly concerned that if you put too much bold colour elsewhere on the walls, that it might just be too many things to look at.
Yeah, that's what I've always felt, and it's really nice to hear that. I have thought about, you know, bringing in more plants do really well in here.
I bet.
So this one, let's see if you can see it. So this one here that we took downstairs, and it had a panic, and now it's come back to life again, which is quite tall. And then there's, I think it's called a string of pearls, you know, hangs down from the top shelf. But those top shelves, Dave was always like, they're not load bearing, you know, like don't put too much on them. And so again, like they're just a bit sad now. Like some things have been put on them, but it's been ages since I styled them or did anything with them to reflect the room. So I would love to like feel re-inspired about that and be like, okay, come on, like let's get conscious about it. Is it a few books? There's a painting on there. There's Dave's singing bowl. There's like some like lovely matches. I don't know where a candle is for the matches, but you know, so it's like, you know, conscious touches that actually blend with the room, the aesthetic of the room, and that meet it where it's at.
One of the things that really springs to mind that I think would work really well in there is to hang some plants from the ceiling, either in like macrame, those sort of hanging they're sort of net things, aren't they? Could look quite good. The other thing I think, if you want to make a really big statement with greenery and plants, is to go for not have lots of small ones, but have just maybe 2 quite big ones. A bit like, I mean, you have got one quite big one. That plant that you've just shown me is quite big, isn't it?
Yeah.
But potentially like one other quite big, quite statement plant that takes up, although it's whether you can afford the space for it, I suppose. That's there
is another space like the other side of the radiator. So if, say, we went with like 2 pots, I almost feel that the pot needs to be slightly smaller than the one we've got. Like when I look at it again, you know, I think it's been a practical decision, like this needed a new pot and that was the best one I could get locally. But yeah, if there was 2 pots, and I wonder if circular rather than this is like it's like square and it's kind of in at the bottom. Yeah, like a circular texture would just kind of then frame up the shelves and I might look better balance wise. It's kind of balanced because there's a big elephant, like a heavy like wooden elephant this side, which I don't think I've shown you. I will show you it because Dave brought it back from somewhere years ago, and it's a real feature, and also it's really, really heavy, so it can't really live anywhere else.
It fits perfectly really into that alcove.
But it's like so heavy, I'm frightened the kids like drop it on themselves, so it kind of has to live there, or at least somewhere tucked away. But yeah, that would be nice to think about though with plants. Something a lovely cafe actually in London that had all of that. I'll send you the link after this, you might be able to check it out.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think also something hanging from the ceiling, but that goes in front of the wall behind you, the exposed brick wall. Greenery for plant against that wall, I think would look really nice, striking. Yeah, I mean, even something. Well, ideally, a plant that trails, I guess. So almost like a sort of hanging basket, if you like, but
inside hanging basket,
an indoor hanging basket with a house plant. You know, something that will kind of just trail down could work quite well. I don't know if sort of if it could work behind you on that wall, but to the left of the door. So like almost to the side where your desk space is. I don't know, because obviously you want to keep the other wall free.
You used to have a drum mounted on the wall that a friend did like hand painted for Dave, and I think we took it down because that was the Zoom background, you know, and so
it's I see
big statement, whereas a plant is less of a statement. So that would be really nice to do. I'm so excited to move the desk now. I'm like, I wonder what that'll be like.
You want to get on with it.
And that's good. The thing, and I think it's like it's step by step, isn't it? It's like I need to, like, now that I'm like really happy with, okay, we're going to leave it as a white room because it feels like an art gallery to me. It did when I first set it up anyway. So that feels really good. And then it's just about reorganizing things, getting really clear with Dave around what he's using, what can go away for now, and then trying this new position for the desk and trying to kind of maybe with these because they are such a big footprint, maybe there's a way of pushing those back into the corner like that.
Yes, because if you end up putting your desk and the podcasting space in the cupboard, then maybe you do have a bit, that corner can be used in a slightly different way, perhaps.
It would just be a bit more functional for him kind of bringing each element of this horse out when he needed to. So that sounds good. Brilliant.
Hopefully that's helpful in some
I think it's
some ideas.
Really lovely to talk it all through and kind of like talk around like the practicalities of the room, but then also like what we want from it and we want to use it, you know. So it's, that's been a real light bulb moment. And I would like to sort of encourage the kids in here some more as well. And I think just getting clearer on, okay, like, you know, dad's camera equipment's away, it's fine. Like, I just need that, you know, because sometimes I'll come in and like my daughter's got like his memory card that he needs with the footage on. It's like, where she put that, you know, it just quite quickly becomes quite chaotic and we don't know where things go. So I think just like a reset at the end of when each of us has finished working would help. And then we know that we can kind of bring some bits and bobs of toys in and stuff like that. Great. So I might start a little Pinterest board because I feel very inspired by this chat. And then what I'd love to do is spend a little bit of time on my days that I'm not working. So I have my daughter 2 days a week, so I can be at home and like faff about and stuff with her. So I'd like to spend like at least a couple of days like rejigging it all, and then I can share back with you and everyone like where it's got to.
That would be amazing. I would love to see that. I would absolutely love that. And I just think your window is just amazing. That's the kind of window I dream of something like that one day.
I mean, same. And that's the thing, isn't it? Sometimes you just get so involved in what you're doing, you kind of forget like that is the magic. That's where the magic lives. And you know, the amount of rainbows and the amount of cloudscapes and the amount of things that you can see ships out of sea, you can see the island from where we are. It's really stunning. So you've re-enthused me. I feel very excited about doing it. And
brilliant.
People can obviously read through the rest of your guest article. They can find you online and follow you. Are you just working in the London area or are you working nationally?
Well, my consultations in person are in the London and Surrey area, but I can do online consultations a little bit like what we've done today.
Like what we did, I loved it,
And what I do with my clients, this goes for in-person and online consultations, is that I send out a questionnaire beforehand and ask for lots and lots of detail. So if someone's got a floor plan already existing of their house, perhaps from when they bought it, to take photos and upload them to this questionnaire, and just to give me as much detail as possible about what it is that they're looking for, what they like, what they don't like, maybe even sharing a Pinterest board with me in advance. And then I go through all of that information before I meet them, either in person or online, and it helps me to just kind of, you know, gather some ideas before actually seeing the space, and then we'll talk through it. So I can do in-person consultations in London or Surrey, or online for people further afield.
Amazing.
And I love just meeting people is also one of the absolute joys of this job that I just didn't necessarily consider when I first thought about changing my career to interior design. But it's so wonderful to chat to people and to get to know how people live.
Really that's it, isn't it? That insight into how everyone's trying to make their homes work. And I bet it's really different post-pandemic as well. You know, like obviously it's been a career shift for you, but also like we're using our homes in ways that we haven't done in the past, aren't we? We're kind of finding new ways to either work from home or spend more time here, or we've fallen back in love with our homes, or we've moved to new homes maybe. So there's all that sort of thing as well. Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, good stuff. Well, thank you so much, Hannah. It's been so lovely to like meet you briefly and have this chat today. And like I said, we'll share this and then I'll share a further follow-up one, and we can maybe go backwards and forwards a bit over what I've managed to do.
Absolutely.
And pull off as part of it. Thank you.
That'd be brilliant. Thank you so much.